Hello, my name is Zebin and welcome to another video by City Sophisticate. If you are new here, welcome, and if you have been here before, thank you for joining me again. Today is the fourth in a series of videos that I am doing on body shapes and how to dress your particular body shape for spring and summer. And in today's video, I will be focusing on the hourglass body shape. So if you missed the other videos in this series, I will link them in the description box below. So let's start off by recapping the four main body shapes. And I just want to mention before we start off that it is not based on weight, but it is based on proportion. So starting off with the rectangle. With the rectangle body shape, the shoulders, the bust, the waist, and the hips are relatively the same proportion. Second, we have the apple or the inverted triangle. And with this body shape, the upper body, the shoulders and the bust tend to be broader than the waist, which is narrower. And with the apple shape in particular, there may be a tendency to gain weight around the midsection. Third is the pear shape. And with the pear shape, the shoulders are narrower compared to the hips and the thighs, and this shape has a defined waist. And lastly, the hourglass body shape, which directly has proportion between the shoulders and bust and the hips, and it has a narrowly defined waistline. Now, over time, evolutionarily speaking, the hourglass body shape has deemed to be most attractive and desirable as it links to the indication of fertility. However, it's interesting to note that a study done in the US indicated that only 8% of women have the hourglass body shape. However, it is a proportionate and balanced body shape, and so that is what we look towards doing in terms of dressing, regardless of the body shape that you have. So let's start out with some universal principles of dressing any body shape. So the first is balance, and basically looking at having proportion between the upper and the lower body that balances and defining the waist. Now with an hourglass body shape, this is actually the natural curve or silhouette of the body, so that's easy to do. The second is the use of line to draw the eye. And there's two things that I mean when I say that. Number one is the actual silhouette of the garment itself that can draw the eye and focus it. The second is the use of lines on the garment itself through pattern. And so you can use lines to elongate, like vertical lines. You can use curved lines to create curves, and that's basically what I mean by lines. And the third is the use of pattern and color to draw the eye. The eye is naturally attracted to colors, bright colors, and patterns. And so if you want to accentuate a part of your body, the way to do it is through lighter and brighter colors and through the use of pattern. And if you want to minimize aspects of your body, then the use of more solid shades in darker colors will basically achieve that. So just before we get into the hourglass body shape, I'm going to ask you to stay till the end of this video where I have some bonus tips about what to avoid as an hourglass body shape. So let's get into some overarching principles in terms of dressing the hourglass body shape. Now, because this body shape is naturally proportioned between the upper and lower body, essentially the only thing that you really need to keep in mind is to follow the natural silhouette of the body and to define the waist. Let's talk about the category of tops and blouses. So first of all, with an hourglass shape, and particularly if you are curvier, it is really important to invest in a good bra to get the support that you need, and that makes garments look even better on your silhouette. Now when it comes to tops, first of all, look for fabrics that drape nicely over your curves. Secondly, look for necklines that are interesting and that bring attention to your neck area and your decolletage. So that can be things like scoop necks, sweetheart necklines, and V-necks, which all accentuate your body shape nicely. And then blouses that nip in at the waist. This first top is a beautiful camisole style top in a gorgeous, rich burgundy color. And it has wide straps so that you can wear the appropriate undergarments underneath it to provide support. And then the V neckline really brings attention to the decolletage area. and the fabric itself flows really beautifully over the curves of the body. So this beautiful khaki wrap style top is quite versatile and could be worn all year long. So in the colder months, you could actually wear it with a cardigan or a blazer. What I love about this for an hourglass figure is that it's got the crossover detail, which basically accentuates the bust area, and then it has the wide straps at the top so that you can wear the appropriate undergarments, and it has the lovely close to the body fabric that really accentuates the curves of an hourglass figure. And lastly, this top is a beautiful summer top with its cheerful pattern and color. It's got a lovely open neckline, and it has a very gently puffed sleeve that just adds a little bit of visual interest, but without adding too much bulk. And then the ruching down the center actually brings the eye inward and has an elongating effect. And the wrap or the ties at the bottom allow you to change the length of that top, so that if you want to make it a little bit longer, you can, or even a little bit shorter if you want to make it a little bit more cropped. In terms of pants and shorts, the most flattering styles are those that have a high or a medium waistline so that you're defining the waist, and then actually having a straight leg or a boot leg or something that gently flares out is quite flattering. And what you'd want to avoid is something that's too loose or too baggy and has embellishment at the hips and waist, as it will just add bulk to that area. This beautiful pair of belted culottes are perfect for the hourglass silhouette. They have the waist definition with the belt detail, and then they gently flare out at the bottom, and they're perfect for summer. These jogger style pants are a beautiful option for summer, and they come in a variety of colors. They have a lovely wide waistband which has an elasticized back, and then as you can see, it's really clean at the front. There's no distraction to add bulk. There are pockets but on the sides, and then they gently flow down the legs. Now let's talk about shorts. And the concept is similar. Basically, you want to have a defined waist, and then you want to have them gently flaring over the hips. So this first pair is a beautiful pistachio colored linen blend pair. And again, it has the wide waistband at the waist, so it accentuates it. And then it's quite flat fronted and has a nice clean look to it. And it has some side pockets, but again, they don't distract by being right in the front. And then they have a lovely length to cover the hips. So these beautiful pale blue shorts also have a dainty print. And a dainty print is really perfect if you want to add some visual interest without making it look too bottom heavy with a larger print. And again, it has the waistband that provides the waist definition, the pockets on the sides, and then it has a good length that covers the hips. Let's talk about skirts. So with skirts, again, you want to have waist definition. So a high waist or a medium waist is the best way to go. And then with the hourglass silhouette, you can actually wear a lovely pencil style skirt to accentuate your curves. But then also skirts that have a fuller bottom, so like a circle skirt or a flared skirt, actually make the waist look even tinier and have that lovely feminine effect. This first skirt is an absolute favorite of mine. It is a deep sienna red, and it has a lovely pencil silhouette, a defined waist, and then the buttons with the gold trim going down the front of it bring the eye in and elongate. As I mentioned earlier, a flared skirt or a pleated skirt can actually accentuate an hourglass silhouette by making the waistline look even smaller. And then with this one, the skirt just gently flares over the hips, and it has a very pretty design. Moving on to dresses. So with dresses, a couple of things to keep in mind. If you are a curvier hourglass silhouette, then having wide straps so that you can make sure that you can wear the appropriate undergarments will be important. Then in terms of the overall look of the dress, again, as I sound like a broken record, balancing the proportions between the upper and lower body and defining the waist. However, as I mentioned in the skirt section, if you want to go with a wider skirt with an accentuated waist, that is also a very lovely feminine look. What you'll want to avoid is big details around the shoulders and the hips, which will just exaggerate the silhouette and might end up making you look heavier. But also avoiding straight cuts and stiff fabrics, which again would cover up the curves and probably end up making you look heavier as well. This bodycon dress is perfect for an hourglass silhouette and is doing all of the right things. So it has the wrap style effect on the top, and then it has the defined waistband. And the silhouette of the garment follows the figure of the hourglass silhouette and really highlights it. This is a perfect summer's day dress. So it's got the wide straps and then a beautiful sweetheart neckline that emphasizes the decolletage area. And it has smocking in the back so that the top fits you quite nicely and snugly. And then it gently flares out and has a ruffle tier at the bottom of it, a wide ruffle tier, I should say, so that has that feminine detail. This wrap style dress can actually be worn all year round. And it has the wrap effect on the top and the V neckline, which is elongating. And then it has the tie at the waist. And then it flows lovely and gently over the hips, and it has a slight balloon sleeve for that added visual interest. Now let's talk about swimwear. With an hourglass silhouette, there's that natural balanced proportion between the upper and lower body. So when you're looking at bikinis, you can actually look at matching sets, which will naturally balance the eye, versus the mix and match sets, which might run the risk of being out of balance. Then you can also have fun with ruffles and other embellishments and details. You can show off the decolletage area. For the curvier hourglass figure, I would suggest making sure that the top of the swimsuit has the adequate support for you, and would likely avoid things like string bikinis or bandeau tops. This swimsuit is a very beautiful option for an hourglass silhouette. It has the thick straps that provide the support, and then the crossover detail which emphasizes the decolletage area. And then it has a lovely belt with gold detail that cinches in the waist. This lovely floral bikini is perfect for an hourglass. It has the thicker straps and the underwire under the cups to provide that support. And then because the upper and lower have the same pattern, it really has a balancing effect on the eye. And another lovely bikini. This one has a cross detail at the back and tie details at the hips to accentuate the curves. So now let's get to the bonus tips that I promised you earlier. So the first thing for an hourglass silhouette is to avoid high-necked tops, because that basically makes you look heavier across the top because of the expansive fabric. And so if you do end up wearing something like that as a round neck or a crew neck, you can break it up with the use of a necklace or a scarf that just breaks it up and brings the eye inward. The second tip I would suggest is to avoid low-waisted bottoms, because it makes you look top heavy and creates that imbalance that we talked about earlier. So I hope that you enjoyed this video on how to dress the hourglass silhouette for spring and summer, and I will leave all of the items linked in the description box below. So if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up and share it with anybody that you think might enjoy the content. I'd also appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to my channel and turning on the notification bell to all so that you are advised whenever I upload another video. And last but not least, you can join me on Instagram at @ZubinCitySophisticate. Thank you so much for joining me today, and have a great day.